I got to say, I want to start here because Dillon Brooks said he wouldn't respect LeBron until he gave him 40. Well, it was almost like after Game 5, the Grizzlies, the Lakers looked around and said, you know what, LeBron, don't worry, we'll handle your light work.
Yep.
That's almost exactly what happened. LeBron goes with a 20-for-20 game, and then the Lakers end up winning the elimination game by 40-some points. Leading scorer for the Grizzlies in that game, Salty Aldama.
Yep.
Backup reserve power forward. That's how you know you were doing what? Getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
And
spanked.
Dillon, and then
scraped.
Look, I love the trash talk. I love all of it. I truly do. I really, truly do. Yeah. However, and I believe I'm taking this quote from a Memphis Grizzly himself. But if you want to smoke, run up the chimney. Yeah. Run up the chimney. Because what we saw, it's just ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. There's several different lines you can think about how fake thugs get no love.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And one of my personal favorites is there's a lot of thumb thuggery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And in the social media era of the world, you got a lot of thumb thugs out there where you going out there and you real thuggy with your left thumb and your right thumb. But when it comes time to put them hands behind them thumbs, you know what I'm saying? Whoa, wait a minute.
It's like the kid that gets loud in the lunchroom once the teachers show up. Now you ready to fight? You know what I'm saying? Like that kid, once the teachers show up in the hallway, now you ready to fight? Yeah.
And I asked you if you had seen The Wire because I wanted to make this analogy to you.
Okay.
Slim Charles is one of the best TV characters in there. First of all, Wire is one of the best shows out. Slim Charles is one of the best TV characters. At the time, I'm ruining it for anybody. I'm sorry if you're late on this 25-year-old TV show. But Stringer Bell gets killed. And they think that it was Marlo Stanfield, the rival gang leader, that took him out, right? And it wasn't. It was some other stuff that got String killed. And Wood Harris, Avon Barksdale knows this. So he goes, look, Marlo didn't kill String. That's not what happened. Slim Charles said, look, man, that's what the streets are saying. And look, if it's a lie, we got to fight on that lie.
Yep.
Because this is where we at.
Yep.
Do you think that anybody in the Memphis Grizzlies locker room really believed that Dillon Brooks is going to be able to guard LeBron James? Do you think that anybody in the Memphis Grizzlies locker room really believed that Dillon Brooks is going to be like a super offensive force in this series? After he said at the last game where he's like, you know what, hey, one of these days I'm gonna make 3 or 4 threes and I'm gonna be the reason we win. Yeah. Do you think that's the case? I don't. And you know what he didn't do? He didn't think it was the case either. And you got to have irrational confidence if you want to be successful in this type of thing. And I thought that was what we were seeing exhibited early on. But then to see the runaway, the lay down, oh my God, all the off the court issues. Well, you know what? Maybe Ja Morant needed to be out of strip clubs because back then that's when you had no problems in the West. When you were doing all of that off the court stuff, it's very convenient now. And I got so many questions for Medina. But to me, if I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, we were talking about last week the Miami Heat maybe needing to make a decision, Bucks needing to make a decision. Memphis Grizzlies need to make a decision.
Memphis Grizzlies have a lot of decisions to make. But to go back to answer your questions about Dillon Brooks, do I think he believe he can guard LeBron James? Yeah, I think he believed he could guard LeBron James. And I don't have a problem with him believing that because I want players to be confident in what they do. Now, however you think you want to poke the bear, you should really watch how you do that. Now, let's put this all into a real perspective, okay, about the Lakers winning this series. First of all, I had Memphis, so I got it wrong. Okay, no excuses. The game that Ja didn't play, they won. So there's no excuses there. We all knew Steve Adams was going to be out. He's been out since January. And they keep saying, oh, he might come back, he might come back. No. He didn't come back. He was out. So he was out leading into the playoffs, and they were number 2 seed, number 3 seed, bouncing back and forth. So there's no excuses. So props to the Lakers for winning the series. But I want to give props to the role players that all play real like Rudy. Like, did you see that coming? D'Lo 31 last night. Did you see that coming? So his squad backed him up. What Dillon Brooks' squad didn't do for him was back him up because they know. Now, to answer your question, do they know he's not going to score a bunch of points? Absolutely, they know that. We all know he ain't going to score a bunch of damn points. He's Dillon Brooks. That's almost like saying Draymond's going to score a bunch of points. And he had 4. And he
I
had
got
4.
a rebuttal for that one coming up.
No problem.
But go ahead.
And he had 4 last night. But also with Ja, bruh, you ain't worried about the West. We talked about this over the last 2 weeks about players that everybody loves. And I'm okay with you loving them. But when you're telling me that you're hitching your wagon to certain guys with championship aspirations, I'm simply going to say good luck. Like, good luck with that. Yeah, you win some games, you get some highlights, you sell out some tickets, you sell some merchandise and stuff like that. But if you're telling me you're going to win a championship with that guy, Ja had 10 points last night. 10 points. You can't be, as Shaq and Charles loves to say, the bus driver in an elimination game, in a game where you know you got a teammate that's talked a lot of trash, and if there's anybody that's got to show up tonight and drop 35, it's you. And you give us 10 points now to rebuttal your post-game, hey, my off-the-court stuff. And yeah, I mean, honestly, he took it like a man. He just said, hey, maybe my off-the-court stuff, weighed on his, I mean, he took it like a man.
At least they did the post-game, because, that right there seems to be incredibly optional for the Memphis Grizzlies in a loss.
Well, not just the Memphis Grizzlies, just Dillon Brooks. Let's not put that on the team. That guy.
Ja walked out too.
But that guy right there, man, like, he's an unrestricted free agent. I'd be surprised if anybody looked at this as a GM, an owner, player personnel, VP, or another head coach in the NBA and thought, yeah, there's an unrestricted free agent that I want. And like you said, the ironic thing that I don't respect nobody until they put 40 on me. And LeBron's guy said, don't worry about it, Bron. We know you can't do 40 no more. We know you're not that guy no more. We'll just go out as a team and beat them by 40. Hey, I was impressed. I can't front, man. I was like, okay, that's poetic justice right there. There's your 40. Do you respect them now? And then, of course, there's a clip of him being let out of the arena, and the Laker fans are out there last night just giving him the business as they should. Now, what's your rebuttal? Where you got?
Well, because you made the equivalent to Draymond and Dillon Brooks. And I think that's a comparison that a lot of people are making in general, right? Kind of an offensively limited guy. But go back and watch the last 2-3 games of the Golden State Kings series. Now, of course, obviously, if you watch the first 3, you see Draymond getting grabbed and using Sabonis as a step stool and all types.
He tripped.
Right, but whatever, right? Whatever. He's always in the mix, right? He's always, but like to the point of Dillon Brooks was always in the mix. So was Draymond Green. But you know what Draymond Green did in a game the Warriors absolutely needed to have?
Yeah.
Absolutely had to win, right? He goes out there, he's hitting one-legged jumpers, going 6 for 7 from the floor.
What did he have, like 22?
He had 22 points. And then in the game before that
Yeah.
in the game before that, he struggled offensively, but you know what? He's still shooting the damn ball. He's putting the ball in play. And if you are not, it's one of my biggest things, and we'll talk about this series in a minute, but lose me with Sabonis being an all-star. If you can't, if the defensive adjustment is to not guard you, you're no longer an all-star.
Yeah.
If that, like, you're not, like, and then stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. So when the defensive adjustment is to no longer guard your wing player, then, and you know what, this is what drives me crazy. Because the Knicks traded for Josh Hart at the deadline. Huge deal. The Lakers made all types of deals at the deadline, took a team that was dead in the water and gave them life. Right? The Warriors made a deal at the deadline, and you can't tell me that Gary Payton Jr. and his 4 offensive rebounds in that stretch in game in Game 5 weren't a big part of the difference.
Especially the putback dunk was
right.
Just,
he was everywhere. He was everywhere. The Memphis Grizzlies traded for the leading 3-point percentage guy right now.
Yeah.
Luke Kennard has won a 3-point contest in this league, and you go sit out there and let Dillon Brooks shoot 20% from 3, 30% from the floor? In a league in which your point guard can't shoot, but he's dynamic to the rim, you need spacing.
So is that coaching?
Absolutely,
okay,
it's
so,
coaching.
Yeah, so we got to put some on him too,
it's
right?
absolutely coaching. And you know what? He finally clicked in and was like, oh, wait. I got this cold left-handed white boy that can burn it
that can bang
from out here.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go ahead and put him in. And then he gets hurt.
Yeah.
But, like, if Dillon Brooks, if your defensive – we're going to talk about this in the draft too, but if you draft a position and then you need that position, that's a terrible draft pick, right? If you spend your first round pick on a cornerback, for example, and you look at team needs and team needs is still cornerback,
that's a bad pick.
That's a bad pick.
That's a whiff. Yeah, that's a whiff.
If your defensive stopper in the NBA is not guarding the best offensive player on the court, he has to go.
Yeah, you still need a defensive stopper.
If I'm looking at Xavier Tillman guarding LeBron effectively. I'm there at game. I was there in game 5.
I know. But
if I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Xavier Tillman guard LeBron effectively. Like, what's Dillon Brooks doing on the floor? Oh, cutting off all the Austin Reeves minutes?
Yeah. But back to the Draymond and Brooks comparison, I wasn't comparing them as far as player to player. What I'm comparing them as, if your statement of Dillon Brooks, do the Memphis Grizzlies think Dillon Brooks is going to score a bunch of points? No. Do the Golden State Warriors think that Draymond Green is going to score a bunch of points? No. That's the only comparison that I make. Draymond Green runs the offense like 80% of the time when he's on the floor. He is running. He is a true point forward. For people that say Draymond wouldn't be this good on another team, that's one of the most idiotic statements I've heard, because he can still, he'll go to any team. Now, he may not be running the offense with Clay and with Steph, but he will still, any coach will say, hey, I know you can do it, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the ball out of your hands, let you run around a little more freely, and like put him in Cleveland. And let Donovan Mitchell move around a little more. They're a better basketball team. I don't know if they beat the Knicks, but they're a better basketball team. So Dillon Brooks, you put him on any other team, and man, that guy might be in China soon. I hate to say that, but it's just, what do you do? It's when I watch him shoot, I always think he's gonna miss. I don't think I've ever seen a player other than Bill Cartwright in my lifetime watching the NBA that when they spot up for a shot, me thinking they miss comes first than me even saying he might hit that shot. When Dillon Brooks shoots, his form is ugly. His form is off. It's never like on, it's long or short. It's left, it's right, it's high, it's low, it's air ball, it's breaking off the side of the backboard. He's terrible.
I mean, going back to Oregon, he's never been a crazy efficient scorer.
No.
Right? But my thing is, dog, like, I'm here for the idea that you got to run a defensive guy out there, get him a few shots, get him something, whatever. But at a certain point, I am looking at Taylor Jenkins here. He's talking about his team has no maturity. Look, I've been on this
for 2 years, man.
But at the part of it is, listen, everybody there's under 25. I understand, right? Like, I think mature. I'm not saying that maturity is something that is something you should take for. It's almost something you should take for granted. Like, you're gonna have to. You have an incredibly talented team. Yeah. Right now, Bane scored.
I like Bane.
Bane.
He needs to get out of there.
But he's a real piece.
Yeah,
he's a real piece.
Yep.
He'll defend. He'll run. He's a knockdown shooter. Yeah. He can get to the rim. Ja, for his shortcomings,
defends also.
He defends also, and Ja, for his shortcomings in terms of his being as a shooter, as a defender, there's nobody going downhill better.
No.
Okay, going downhill to the rim. Yeah. Like, there's pieces on this team. I mean, and this is the second time in 2 years they got smoked in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, this is the second time in 2 years they got their ass kicked.
You can see this coming. I've been on this for 2 years. It's documented. The receipts out there, even right here on this network. Brian Noah and I had a bet last summer. He thinks they were going to get to a finals within 3 years. I said, this team's going to be broken up in 3 years. What are you talking about? They're not getting to a finals. This team's going to be broken up. When these contracts start coming up with these guys, why would you stay? Like, real talk.
The thing is,
if you're Bane, you become a free agent. Why would you stay?
Bane's already locked up. Ja's locked up. But when they came around with the Jaren Jackson Jr.'s locked up, Dillon Brooks is the one that's the unrestricted free agent. And it's like, you tried to trade for Mikal Bridges. You tried to trade for OG Anunoby. You did trade for Luke Kennard. And we're like, you know what? We got Dillon Brooks' defense. We got to keep him out there for his defense, as he's not guarding not the best player on the floor, or the most important player on the floor, LeBron and Anthony Davis, whichever way you look at it, right?
And his teammate won Defensive Player of the Year, so he's not their best defender.
His
teammate won Defensive Player of the Year, so he's not their best defender.